'Cause this is what it's come to.
Just a two-lane daylight
Oh my
getaway. Damn.
I gotta turn that.
I
That
leaned
hurt,
so
bro.
close in.
That hurt, bro.
What if I use that as the intro?
Oh my god.
Just back-
us just absolutely destroying. Like,
Just backtrack and use
oh
that.
my god.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Waves on the Shore with myself and a special guest today. Up and to my right, it is Tom. He is going to be joining us. Tom is an OG of the Discord, an OG viewer of the channel, a G in general. So we're like, we got to get Tom on, and he is a big fan of Ernest, a good buddy of Ernest. So we were like, hey, we're going to be talking about Ernest a lot in this episode. Why not get Tom on here? So Tom is here. Tom, say hello to the people. Let them know what's up.
Hi, people. What's up? I'm Tom, and I am an Ernest fan. Guilty as charged.
That's almost an understatement, I feel.
Yeah, he's got the hat. He's got the shirt.
That is
candle.
understating it a little bit.
He's got everything going on. So, Tom, where are you right now? Because you're kind of all over the place. At this moment,
Right now,
are you back
sorry.
home yet?
Yeah, no, I am at home. I am in Austin, beautiful Austin, Texas. Yeah, also, I was just in Nashville a few days ago, and while I was there was like tornadoes just a few miles from here.
You're posting about that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
Yeah. So, funny enough, for those who don't know, we normally record on Tuesdays, but Tom was actually at an Ernest show, or it was the day you were flying out to see an Ernest show. One or the other. So
It turned out to be both.
Turned out to be both, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're like, well, we can't record Tuesday. So, but here we are. Got this brand new episode. Got some stuff lined up for y'all. It's going to be a great episode. And I think we can just start right away with Ernest. Ernest dropped his second album, but in a way it kind of feels like his debut moment. Just because Locals only back in 2019. He didn't have anywhere near the size or the momentum or anything, so it almost feels like a big debut in a way. But Flower Shops, the album, is out now. It's 10 songs, 11 including the acoustic version of the title track, Flower Shops. My review of it is up on the channel. So as always, when it comes to records, I have already thrown my review up. I'll kind of take a back seat, but we should have some great discussion here. We've got multiple perspectives coming at you here. Which one of you boys wants to start off the conversation wherever you see fit?
I think I could start.
Yeah, I'll let him start.
Okay. I mean, this is a really good album. Like, I think it's just really solid. And I also think I'm in the minority with a few songs that might be my favorite. Maybe just one, really. Obviously, I think most people really like Comfortable When I'm Crazy.
That song has risen to be one of my,
and
arguably
Tennessee
my favorite.
Queen is also a big standout for me. But a lot of people seem to not be super big on Some Other Bar, and I really like Some Other Bar.
I
It's
think
not
the
like-
chorus for that one's really good.
Yeah, I mean, the chorus is where it's strongest. I'll agree with you right there. I don't know. I think it's just really fun. It's probably not the best song on the album, but I think it's one of the more fun ones. It doesn't take a lot of maybe the writing isn't as good as, well, yeah.
I'd argue the writing is one of the strong points for it. I think the only reason Some Other Bar, in a way, depending on how you look at it, some people say might not work, is because with the whole album, I feel like it's a little, not to the extent of what it's come to, but Some Other Bar is pushing that poppier direction, whereas the rest of the album is so traditional sounding that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, because I still enjoy the song, but it more just sticks out as another thumb, like another flavor that's not really in line with everything, whereas the rest of the album seems super super focused, super consistent with its sound and its palette, whereas Some Other Bar, when it comes to kind of break that up a little bit, and then it's just personal preference. Do you like the song or not?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think I lean more towards where Evan's coming to on that one. Like, obviously, like I still like it a good bit, but I wouldn't call it one of my favorites. But honestly, for a slightly different reason, in the terms of subject matter, it almost seems a lot like Sugar on his first album, as far as like basically like getting a relationship started and then just wanting to see like really wanting to see that girl again and hoping she shows up again.
I can see that
But
connection.
That's a
but
good.
I almost can't help but compare them, and I obviously I like Sugar a little more. It's a little more like obviously it's a lot happier, it's a lot brighter, it's a very different tone. But
Hmm.
like I still like Some Other Bar a good bit, but it's on the lower end of the album for me personally.
Yeah, I think you can also draw a connection to something like Hardic on the Dance Floor from John Party. Just kind of that like had something in a bar, lost it, and is just kind of looking for it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Here, wait. I will say that because it's kind of the closer of this album, but not really because the acoustic version of Flower Shops kind of is.
I kind of
But
like that as a closer. I can't
yeah,
lie.
yeah. But if
Yeah,
you
I agree.
I do too. But because it shows up there twice, like if Ernest for some reason didn't put that there, Some Other Bar would have been the last one, and it kind of feels like a weird. I don't know. The placement of it is the thing that strikes me the most as a little weird.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting how like the original is like at the exact halfway point of the
Yeah.
album, and the acoustic one is the one at the very end.
Yeah, I think maybe Evan said something like this in his review, but it's kind of like the turning point of like this loose story that's going on between these two people
things
that
are
are in a
going good,
relationship.
comfortable, and I'm
Yeah,
crazy, and then flower
yeah,
shops.
yeah, and then it kind of turns around maybe a little bit after that. So
Hmm.
I kind of like that placement for Flower.
Yeah, I mean, Did
It's
It With You is kind of the one is like the one brighter song at the in the latter half,
yeah,
Hmm.
which I obviously greatly appreciate because I love that song. Yeah,
Great
like
driving song.
you guys know I have an affinity for pop rock outside of country music. So, and like that's the one song on this album that kind of leans into that pop rock ish side of country that it really works for me personally.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites. I loved it from the first second I heard it.
it's definitely in the top half for me. I think one of just going back to like the sequencing closer to the end. I think the reason Flower Shop's acoustic works as a closer is simply sonically. Um, Some Other Bar thematically, lyrically, I think it makes the most sense to have as like the closer just for the storyline's sake. But musically, if you were whiskey, just it's way more of a fitting closer. I feel like it just kind of drifts out into this like abyss at the end. Whereas Some Other Bar kind of slams it back. So I think the reason the Flower Shop's acoustic works is because it kind of brings it all back in.
Yeah.
If you cut the even though it's just a bonus, when you listen to that as well, it kind of brings it all back in. And even then, being the fact it is the title track, I feel like it's almost like a chorus on a grander scale. How like you get the chorus like a few times throughout a song, and I feel like that almost applies in like an album scale where it's like this is Flower Shops, you get it, like you get the first few songs, you get the title track, we go through the rough part, and then he kind of closes it off with a soft like this has been Flower Shops kind of thing. So I think that's the reason
One thing I'll also say for this is that like it really doesn't like even though like obviously I like like there's some songs I love and like maybe like one or one and a half that I think are just like merely good. Like I think one of the best parts about this is that there really isn't any filler. Like nothing
yeah,
really even the songs I like the least, they all feel none of it feels unnecessary.
you
There's
couldn't
no
cut anything.
flat. There's no yeah. Like everything feels necessary to the album narrative, which
Yeah,
like I mean obviously you guys know I love Dangerous, but
Hmm.
like anybody could see that that had
Here, wait.
some
Actually,
extra a little bit too much.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
this album does not have that problem at all.
If you cut
here.
anything from Flower Shops, it would kind of disrupt it. Whereas, like you said, for as good as Dangerous was, there was a lot you could have slimmed back. Jaren, you're aching to
Well,
say something.
I I'm curious because it's been more than a year now since Dangerous. And I'm curious to hear what Tom, do you have a favorite song off of Dangerous?
Like pick one.
I know it's like the cliche answer, but I feel like "Cover Me Up" is still my favorite.
Okay.
I don't think that's a cliche
It's
answer.
I don't know. I feel like that's the that's the cool answer. Like that's the,
Yeah, that I can understand. I feel like the cliche
Maybe,
answer would be
but
like
it's
"Sand in My
also-
Boots."
It's also it's a good song. Like I can't blame
It's a
you.
it's a
Yeah,
tried
like-
and tested song.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
It's
it
a
is-
good version of that song because there are some versions of that song that are not.
That
very
don't do it
good.
justice.
Like
Yeah.
freaking Randy. No, who is? I know Zach Brown Band has a version, and then why can I not think of his name? Whatever, forget about it.
I'll tell you what the actual best cover of that. I mean, the best non-Morgan cover of that is "Angels" by Thomas Rhett. I mean, you know, technically it's not the same song, but
Oh,
Like,
Because the guitar part.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I was so
Yeah.
confused for a second. I was like,
Yeah,
"Is
I was gonna
Angels
say,
a
I'm looking
cover?"
at
I just
Evan,
didn't
and-
realize.
And Evan's just like, wait, what?
I was like, "Is Angels isn't a cover?"
Yeah, I probably could have segued into that one a little better. But,
A little bit, but it is.
A little bit, yeah.
It's all good. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you are obviously a big Ernest fan, but you're also a good buddy of Ernest, and I feel like you have quite a not weird, but just like a how did this even come together story of your friendship with Ernest. Like, how have you wound up? Like, what got you from point A to point like at an after party of a show with Morgan, Hardy, and Ernest? Like, how did you get there in the span of like 8 months?
Okay, well, I'm trying to think of like how far back I want to start here, but the first time I'd ever even heard of Ernest was actually when he was on Theo Von's podcast with Morgan and Hardy, and that was like near the tail end of 2020, and like that's where I like, oh, I guess I could start listening to this guy's music, like, oh. And I think like either Cheers or Sugar was the first song of his I'd ever heard. Like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, it's like, oh, and then I started watching some of his Just Being Ernest podcast, and Ernest is hilarious. So
The
that
like
yeah, that
second
going
best
for him.
country music podcast, only second us,
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
I hope
Mhm.
Ernest will-
Very,
actually,
very,
I hope-
very,
I hope Ernest
very
listens to
distant
this
second
and
there.
hears me say that.
Yeah, but like,
Actually, I listen to Just Being Ernest too. It's actually
I do. I listen to episodes every now and then. It's quite
Yeah.
enjoyable.
but yeah, no, like he had a show in or well, two shows, but I only got to go to one in Myrtle Beach in July, and I was still living there then. And it was at a tin roof in Myrtle Beach. It wasn't like a huge venue. It's just like basically in a bar, really. And like I was wearing my like I had like ordered Ernest merch, and I got it maybe a week before the show happened. Like
I remember this. I do.
yeah, and like I had my like the full locals only shirt and the Southern cap, and he like as soon as he saw me, almost like immediately like shook my hand, and I started taking pictures for him. He could tell I was obviously into all of his music, and then he pulled me up on stage to sing "Sugar" with him, which
I
was
remember.
I didn't
which
hear about
was
that.
one of the like highlights of my entire life. I don't know if I will.
sent a video.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to top that, but like.
You're gonna get up there and sing
Basically,
"Cover Me Up"
we've
with
been
Morgan.
like we've been like escalating levels of friends ever since then. Like we would like message each other on Instagram. He actually gave me his phone number then, and like a few months later, he just like invited me to like come see like him, Hardy, and Morgan in Little Rock, which I ended up driving like the 7 hours to instead of flying because I was cheap. I was much cheaper then. But he also like paid for my hotel room. It was crazy. And honestly, like I ended up meeting like him and Hardy and Morgan at that bar in Little Rock kind of by
I
accident.
remember seeing that picture.
I remember you sent me that picture, and I had no context. Like, I knew you had like met Ernest, but I had no and you just sent me that picture. I'm like, Tom, how did you wind up there? Like, How did you end up in that scenario? That may have been my exact words. If I had the time to like swipe all the way back up, I'd find it. But I'm pretty sure I said like, "How did you wind up there?"
Basically, after the show, I just started messaging Ernest's drummer, and he said that that they're just going to a bar afterwards. Now, like, he didn't tell me which, so like I just drove over to the nearest bar that was closest to the venue, parked there, went inside, and like people in there just said that there was an after party going on in the back room, so I just waited there. And then Ernest and his drummer and a few other people just walked in, and he immediately gave me a hug, then shook my hand and invited me to come in and started introducing me to everybody. And that was also probably a moment that I'll be trying to chase for the rest of my life, because like I mean I was so starstruck. I was like fumbling over my words trying to talk to Party and Morgan especially, but it was insane. Oh, and I also gave Ernest a bottle of whiskey that was shaped like a guitar, which he really appreciated. And yeah, and basically like since then we've just like met, like seen each other every so often. Like I've tried to, like I went to his Opry show at the beginning of January, and obviously I just saw him. Oh wait, I almost forgot. I went up to Philadelphia to see him on his Chris Lane tour, and he took me back, and he took me full on backstage for that. And I got to meet. Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. But yeah, I got to meet both Lily Rose and Chris Lane there. So, and obviously I just saw him a couple days ago in oh my god, Nashville for his 2 Exit In shows. And yeah, I like it. Also, we just like talk on and off on Instagram. It's just awesome. Like he really like is as down to earth and chill as he seems. He's definitely one of the most awesome people I've ever met.
Yeah,
Like just like I love his music, but like I would really like him as a person even outside of anything else.
yeah, he seems on his Instagram at least like he's a very memey guy, and he's a very he doesn't take himself very seriously.
Yeah, he's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, very much so.
Like he's very jovial. At least pretty much every time I've been around him.
I remember the one time when he was coming up on 69,000 followers, he was like giving away merch or something, and it was like, I'm not surprised.
I didn't even see that.
I was just like, I ain't surprised, but well, I was gonna say something. Oh
yeah,
crap!
I do. I guess I almost forgot. I wanted to bookend it with like I like met Theo, like got to take a picture with Theo Vaughn.
I saw that
at the second Exit In show, and that like something that like just felt so cosmically right about that. Just since I met Ernest, or I discovered Ernest because he was on Theo Vaughn's podcast. Like I love it when the universe lines up like that.
Lines up like that. The moral of this story is, if there's any artists that want to pay for a hotel for me to go out and watch them, and then like, oh, we'll wind up like that's.
Yeah, but not me though. Not me.
Jaren can tag along. Just don't pay for his hotel. Make him pay for that. But if you want to pay for my hotel and bring me out somewhere, I'm very down to go on trips that are paid for. But yeah.
And I mean, do you want me to talk about what I think about his actual music now?
Yeah, I was just gonna transition back onto the actual music. We've got some loose thoughts from Jaren. Basically, like, if you had to condense your thoughts into like, you've got not like, we don't have a time limit, but I'm just saying, like, what is your condensed review? Like, what are you thinking with this overall?
My condensed review is that, like, I mean, obviously I love it. I don't think it's perfect. Like, I think what it's come to is easily the quote unquote worst song. I still think it's like pretty good, but
Yeah,
I think I think it's the most generic of the songs. But I just love how this album sounds. I love how it's written. Like, it feels very, like, especially like the first few songs feel very warm, and yeah, like Ernest's vocal tone is always very comforting, I guess. And he sounds great. The writing is great, pretty much across the board, and like the production is fantastic for like 9 or 10 out of 11 tracks. You know, like I think I'm especially like biased towards like the front half, like everything from Sucker for Small Town through Did It With You as being like almost untouchable. I didn't like classic that much at first, but like something about the groove really and the chorus really grew on me.
Yeah.
And like now I think I would call, I don't think it's one of my favorites yet, but it's like risen to mid tier, which is still like for this album fantastic. But Feet Wanna Run has probably become my favorite Ernest song. Period. It was probably American Rust before the album came out. Like I actually like that even more than Flower Shops, which is obviously also fantastic, and like I like Morgan being on it. But yeah, like really the front half, Sucker for Small Towns, Tennessee Queen is beautiful, and I love how much of a love song that is.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for love songs, but yeah, and like I said before, like Did It With You is just a jam, comfortable when I'm crazy, and Flower Shops and Feet Runner Run are the best kind of depressing. I love my sad country
Yeah.
songs.
Sad boy songs. Heck yeah.
Hmm
Jaren's got a whole
Yeah,
podcast about it.
I think that's the
Whoa,
most
whoa, whoa.
condensed version
That's a
I could
lot.
possibly. I
Or
think that's probably the most condensed version of my love for this album I can give.
all right, real quick before we close this section off, rating out of 10 if you had to give one on the spot. Jaren, what would you say?
On the spot. I don't know. I will do. Okay, I'm feeling like a 7.5.
Okay.
Not bad, but I don't give out like I don't.
Jaren don't just give out good root.
Yeah.
Jaren needs
Yeah.
something. Tom,
Mr.
where are you
Mr.
finding?
Mr. High Standards, Jaron.
I'm saying, no, it's a good album. I think it's just like I don't know. I really like Ernest, but there's just other styles of music that I kind of lean towards more. But
No,
I think
I
he really
understand.
Ernest does sad boy really well. I will say that sad boy music, like Flower Shops.
He does do cause like
Really?
Flower Shops,
Like,
Come to
really
When I'm
good?
Crazy, If
Yeah.
You're Whiskey, like those are all like the standouts, and they're all pretty sad. But Tom, what would you give this one out of 10?
I think it's like definitely a 9 for maybe a 9.1 or 9.2 if we're doing decimals, but really just only what it's come to like is what like keeps it from being even higher. Like I said, that song's not even bad, but like I can't give a perfect score to something that I
That
don't
isn't
think
perfect.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Sure.
But like I said, I absolutely love this album. I would love it even if I wasn't friends with him. Ernest, if you're listening to this, I just want you to know that I like you regardless of the music, and I like the music regardless of you. That's all. And I'm really hoping American Rust makes it as a bonus track on the deluxe edition if and when that comes out.
If and when, do you have any hints or no?
He said
I honestly don't like. I don't know for sure. Like
Is that-
he has said that like if one ever comes out, it would probably be there, but I don't know how sure of a thing that is.
Yeah, we'll find out in time.
But on record, obviously I love that song, but I think it makes sense to leave. I think it did make sense to leave it off because it wouldn't have really fit.
Hearing the album now, I
Yeah.
totally agree. Even though I love that song, and I was thinking it was gonna be one of the lead singles from the album.
Yeah.
Now hearing the album, it makes sense that it's not on there.
Yeah,
I remember being surprised seeing the track list and
Yeah.
not seeing American
Yeah,
Rust, and I was like, oh, okay. And then
I mean,
heard the album.
Cheers especially would not have fit anywhere on that.
No,
yeah.
no.
Maybe you could if you would rework the narrative a bit, American Rust could have fit in some way, but Cheers
But even
was never
even
gonna work.
musically, yeah, Cheers
Yeah.
is not the strongest of all time, but cool. Well, I think that will just about round up our section regarding Ernest. Um, Always a pleasure talking to you, Tom. Thank you for your time and your expertise and your crazy stories. You are very full of
I'm crazy,
stories.
bro.
Tom moves
no.
crazy.
Yeah, I do this stuff specifically so I have stories to tell. That's the only reason.
You're gonna have quite the catalog to tell your kids and grandkids. I give you that much.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, look forward to hopefully having you on again soon at some point. Thank you for joining us.
Any time. Like as you guys know, I've been wanting to come on here for ages.
We've been
like,
looking for a way to make it work, and then when the Ernest album's coming up, we were like, yeah, this is
It
the
made
one we got to
sense.
get Tom on.
Yeah.
So
this was the best moment for me to come on here.
made the most sense. Made the most sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Have a good one, Tom.
You are welcome. And I will
See you,
talk to
Tom.
you again soon.
Welcome back. Tom is no longer with us. That sounds like he died, but he just signed off.
We're pretty sure Tom's still alive.
We hope Tom has not died in the last like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
But we are going to move on now. Back into our regular, like, just me and Jaren, same old, talking about some not same old music. Some new music, quite a bit of new music we are going to run over. We've got 2 albums and 2 singles, and then we will move into what are we listening to, and the newly named segment for the Wikipedia segment, Who the Frick Is This?
Yeah, shout out to Joe for
Shout
giving
out to
us-
Joe.
I believe that was his
Fantastic.
idea.
We will be definitely, well, you'll hear the soundbite later. But anyways, new music that we've got on the list here on the agenda. First up is Randall King. Randall put out his second studio album 4 years removed from his first, his self-titled debut back in 2018. The new album's titled Shot Glass. It came out on March 18th. My review of it is not up yet. I've been busy with schoolwork and lazy. So those 2 factors combined are the reason that my Randall King review is not up yet. Nor is the other album that a review will be up soon. So you're actually getting some exclusive, like, pre-review thoughts here from me. But yeah, Randall King, new album, Shot Glass, 10 songs. I think I'll just open by saying, I think, unless you had something else to say before we moved in.
Nah, bro. Go ahead.
For me, this album is, like, solid and nothing more. Like, no more, no less.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's...
I wouldn't disagree.
It's like, so Randall King, West Texas native, you hear it all through his sound. We've all heard the comparisons to George Strait. We all know his voice kind of sounds like it. Although, I would mention that on the opener, Baby Do, he's almost got this, like, not nasally, but this, like, crispy, like, kind of high voice at the start that almost, I'm like, whoa, like, is Parker McCollum on here? But it is Randall King. The rest of the album, he sounds like Randall King, which sounds like George Strait. But it's a great traditional country album. It's the perfect bar music. Like, I imagine
that's a good way to
Randall.
describe it, actually. Bar
Yeah,
music.
he
Like
tours
good bar music.
good
Yeah.
bar music. He tours. He's not doing stadiums or arenas at least yet. At least from what I've seen from photos and videos following him, he tours around and his music is made for his audience. He knows his audience. It's 36 minutes. Excuse me, 11 tracks. I said 10 earlier. It's 11. 36 minutes of traditional Texas country music. But it's not like anything new. It's not anything like over ambitious or like he's not bringing anything revolutionary to the table. He's just kind of like he's got a good sound. He knows he's good at it. He knows his audience likes it, and he's just pounding it out. Which fair play to him because again, I think the music's solid, but it's not like not that it's not memorable because I think Randall as a package is quite he does stand out, but it's not like wowing me. I'm not listening to it being like, "Oh, that is cool" or "That's creative." It's like, yeah, this is some good country music. That's kind of my brief thoughts.
So
My ramble's done.
Yeah, I I totally agree with what you said about it being solid and like nothing less and like nothing more. It's just like it's really solid. And it's like I get a little frustrated when I listen to this album actually because there's some new songs on here that we hadn't heard until the album released that I really enjoy, like Shot Glass and Middle of Nowhere Church.
Yep.
Are both probably my favorites of the ones that weren't released yet. And then I get to a minor, well, I, I, uh, it frustrates me because we've heard 6 of these songs before the album has come out. But like I think Hey Cowgirl was out like 2.5 years before this album came out.
Was it
And I
actually?
love Hey Cowgirl. Yeah, it's been out
Oh.
for like I mean, I remember listening to it when I used to work at my church, and that was
Time ago.
a little while ago. And that it was definitely it was almost 2 years ago. So maybe not 2.5 years, but Hey Cowgirl's been out for a while. And
2020. I did not.
and I'll Fly
Dang.
Away and Around Forever were both on the Leanna EP, and
January
I
2020. So Hey Cowgirl has been out for quite some time.
yeah, it's
It's
just
older
over
than the
2 years.
Leanna EP. I did not
Yeah.
realize that. Granted, a
And
lot of Leanna's on here too.
yeah, and I'll Fly Away and Around Forever were both on that Leanna EP, and the Leanna EP is like my favorite EP of all time, maybe, except for maybe like
It's pretty good. Like,
yeah, except for maybe Come May. It's just a little frustrating. The album's really good. I just don't like that we've heard basically half the album already.
I have a video coming on this. Albums
Yeah.
really they put out too much beforehand and it kills the hype.
I was
I-
surprised that Randall did this because I just wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting songs from Leanna to be on this, and I wasn't expecting Hey Cowgirl to be put on this because
Yeah,
it was put out.
you bring
so
a
long
good
before.
point because it just feels kind of like, in that way, the album feels, like it feels constructed as like, not an afterthought, but like, oh, we need an album. Oh, we got songs here, and then we'll chuck these new ones on. Like
Yeah,
it does in a way, in that way, feel kind of like, not lazy, but convenient. It feels like it was very conveniently put together because it's not like there were like, I mean, when you look at like I'll Fly Away and Around Forever and Hey Cowgirl, like these were not being promoted as like lead singles for an upcoming album or anything, and then they all wind up on the album. So it's like, I definitely see what you mean there.
yeah. I wonder if this actually makes me think. You got my brain juices flowing, because he came out with that EP shortly after his sister died, and it's named after her. And I wonder if he had those songs and he was planning on putting some of them on this album already, and was like, you know what, I want to put out an EP for my sister. And maybe he put them on there. But like, I don't know. That was more than a year ago. That was like November of 2020.
It's a fair point.
It's the thing is I'm frustrated because the album's good. It's just
It's not
weird.
new.
I'm
It's
confused.
yeah, it's an interesting feeling because it's like,
Yeah.
as good as it is, there's not a whole lot new here. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of my issue when albums release so much, is like, it's not an excitement of like, oh my gosh, look at all this new music. It's more of a exhale, like, hey, we finally got the last few pieces.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you have a 500 piece puzzle, and for the last like 4 months you've had like 450 pieces, and then like finally you get the last. It's like, okay, finally. Whereas like if someone just drops off a new puzzle, you're like, holy heck, look at this.
This is an interesting analogy you've chosen to run with.
And it works. And it works. Okay, I don't want.
Okay. Anyway.
You couldn't think of a better one, but yeah.
All right.
I'd say my favorites from the album. You and a Honky Tonk. I love the sound of that one. That one just glistens. Big fan of that sound, and
It's a vibe. It's fun.
I like the lyrics in Hard Way to Make It Rain. Just the idea of like, you know, his career path. It's a good way to make a living, but a hard way to make it rain. I just think that's a really clever lyric, all about like the traveling musician and whatnot. I appreciate
Yeah.
that song quite a bit. And like you said, Middle of Nowhere Church. I think that's a really pretty song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Shot Glass, strong album, strong,
Yeah.
consistent. It
One-
delivered exactly what I thought it would, at the level I thought it would, which is a good level, I should specify.
Yeah, one last thing that I have
Yeah.
to say is that I'm a little, I keep saying frustrated, but it's an accurate description. I'm a little frustrated that like it seems that all my favorite songs on this album are ones that I've already heard. Not that the other ones aren't good, except I will say that I think Shot Glass and Middle of Nowhere Church are the two new ones that stand out to me the most. Like Hey Cowgirl is just a really good song that I really enjoy, and I love the sound of it. And I think it's his most popular song on Spotify. And I'll Fly Away and Around Forever are also probably my other two favorite songs besides Hey Cowgirl. So it's just kind of like, man.
I
Like,
didn't even
don't
need the
have-
rest of this.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's kind of, I don't want to feel that way, but I kind of do. Yeah, so,
It's how the cookie
Meh.
crumbles.
but I'd probably, I don't know. I'd probably give it about the same as the Ernest album if I'm being real. It
I'm-
would probably be higher if there were like, if it felt new.
Oh yeah, I can respect that. I kind of had that, not to that extent. Although you have opened my eyes because I completely forgot Hey Cowgirl was that old.
Oh yeah.
I might hold my rating back just because my review of this will go up in a few days. So if you're very curious, go there and you can find it. Wait, my mind just blanked.
Evan just died temporarily, bro. Just hit the pause button. You okay, Chief?
No, okay, we're good. We're good. I was just thinking because the OBS is still recording my audio, but that's okay.
Okay.
We are now going to transition into another. Yes, more music. Another brand new
More.
album. More. Another very highly anticipated album from someone who hasn't really broke through yet, mainstream wise, at least from my understanding, but has really gained.
She's kind of there.
She's
like,
getting
kinda.
there. She's on the brink. But people in the know are massive fans, and we are of course talking about Hailey Whitters. Her new album Raised came out the same day as Randall King's Shot Glass. I've given it about 2 listens now. Review of this will also be going up. Feeling a little more positive about this one than the Randall, I'd say.
Mhm. Not that we were negative about the Randall one.
Yeah, no,
but
the
it's
Randall
just-
album is
yeah.
good. It is good. It's just like not pushing anything or like wowing
Yeah.
us in that sense.
Yeah.
But Raised by Hailey Whitters. What do you think? I'll let you start the conversation.
9.5 out of 10. Very, very
Wow.
good album.
Okay.
I'm not even kidding. Like oh my gosh, almost every single song on here is a banger. Raised is such a okay.
Which
well,
is
actually,
impressive
let me-
for a relatively lengthy
Yeah.
track list.
Yeah, yes, that's also a very good point. Although let's point out, I was surprised that 3 of the tracks are like instrumental interlude, like intro, outro, interlude
But I-
in the middle.
I
And
like
it.
those little touches.
Yeah,
I
and-
like them.
And I like it. I was just surprised, you know. I was kind of like, huh.
I love when
There's
albums
also-
throw in those little like side
'cause
things
there's
that help
the-
it move along.
Yeah, so there's the Ad Astra per alas Porci. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Is like the intro to the album. It's like but then there's actually, I think I counted wrong. I think I said 3, but I think there's an interlude at track 8, and then there's the Grassman, which is also this kind of
Which
like
is
20-second.
Kind of transitions into the grass is
Yeah.
legal. Or our grass
Uh-huh.
is legal, sorry.
And then there's Ad Astra per alas Porci, the reprise, which is just 20 seconds at the end, which I think is really cool. It's a really cool touch, really unique. I wasn't expecting it, but it works and it sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
And look, let me just go down the track list. Raised, banger. Everything She Ain't,
Banger.
Big
Banger.
Family, banger. Middle of America, it's kind of a banger. I think some other people are bigger on it than I am, but it's still pretty good.
I think
Plain
the
Jane,
I think
good.
when you're talking about like Middle of America, Because I get what you mean. Like, I like the song, but I think the big draw is the fact that American Aquarium's on there. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
just like that collaboration, so they're like, yeah, I can root for this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm just not into that American Aquarium thing yet. But anyway,
Grady's gonna be
plain-
coming at your head, at
yeah,
your
I'm
throat,
not. No, no, no,
man.
no, 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 no. I did not say they were bad. I just haven't like I've given them a listen a couple times, and it's just like they haven't hooked me yet. I need that. I don't know what it is. I want to like it really badly. I don't know, man. Plain Jane, good. College Town, I think, is pretty good.
I like
Boys
College
Back
Town.
Home is a banger. Pretty Boy, so good. The
Pretty
Neon,
Boy-
very
Pretty
good.
Boy's top tier. Neon's grown on me a lot.
Yeah.
I will say that. Originally, when we talked about it when it came out, I was kind of on the fence. That one has grown on me substantially.
It's
since
just
release.
this is for how long this thing is. So it's like okay, so 17. 4 of the tracks are basically like instrumental. So if we're just talking about those 14 tracks, like 10
13?
of them are like.
Would you
Yeah,
like to
I can do
remath
math.
that?
It's 13. 13. Those 13 tracks, like 9 or 10 of them are like really, really, really good, and then the other 3 are just
Good.
really good. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like they're like I really like this album. I really do. It's just and it sounds really good.
It's got. I was just gonna say the
Also-
sound. It's got so much character.
I do want to say technically Raised isn't the opener just because there's that instrumental intro, but like for an opener, I know we were me and Evan just recorded a video that has to do with Chris Stapleton's debut.
That will go
And
up
we talked
after this
yeah.
is out. So
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about good openers that are also title tracks, and I think Raised gives Traveler
Is Raised
a run
an
for
opener?
its money.
are we gonna call Raised an opener? Because
I think it kind of
Ad
is
Astra
though.
Paralis Porcia, however you
I
say
know,
it, is there.
But look, I'm gonna be real with you. Most of the time, I like those intros and stuff, but when I click on this album, I'm not going to click on that. I'm gonna click on Raised.
I know what
probably
you mean.
first.
Yeah, I
So
I
to me,
wouldn't
Raised
consi-
is
I
kind of
wouldn't-
the opener.
Raised is the opener.
I know it isn't, but it kind of is.
I agree with you. I actually like when albums have that little like get yourself seated before it comes in full motion. Ones that come to mind like that. Frank Ocean's Nostalgia Ultra from 2011. Street Fighter is the little like flipping through like VCRs in a car before he lands on the album. That I
Yeah.
really like. Also, a similar intro is included in the album I will be bringing later. In
Ooh.
yeah, you're gonna hear about it in a bit.
Interesting.
I do, yeah.
But this album is just
it is
good,
very
man.
strong. I feel like Jaren's. I feel like you're a little more positive than me, but I don't say
I
that
know I
as
did
like
say
a.
I know I did say 9.5. I'm gonna lower that to 9. I was being a little aggressive with that, but still very good.
Still very
Very
strong,
good.
very
Yeah.
strong album. And I think we can dial it back now, moving on to some singles. Unless you had some other things you wanted to add.
I just realized my laptop wasn't plugged in.
We're gonna lose.
and I just hit my face with the cord. But you can go ahead and transition us while I.
All right. So while Jaren gets his laptop set up, oh look at those legs.
Oh. I didn't even think about that. I'm sitting cross-legged on my chair.
For listeners, Jaren just tipped his computer over to plug it in, but obviously that revealed his beautiful legs.
Yeah, those hairy legs.
We have two singles here that we each have one song that's new that we want to bring up for very different reasons.
Yeah, because
Um,
one is really good and one
One's
is really not.
good. Yep. We'll start with the good one. And that is the newest track from Nate Smith and Tennille Towns. I will let you take the reins on this, obviously, because you were the one that wants to bring it.
I
Um,
really.
I should probably say the name of the song too. I don't want to go to heaven.
Oh yeah.
I don't
yeah,
want to go
yeah.
to heaven by Nate Smith and Tennille Towns.
So what I didn't, I had a couple things before I get into what I actually think of the song itself. Tennille just kind of announced this like a week before it came out. I think she was like, "Hey, doing a song with Nate Smith," and I was like, "Cool, who's that guy?" And so I had to go to his Spotify. And I was like, "Oh, okay," and then I realized when this song came out that it was actually just he's already done this song before, but this version. I actually haven't listened to the original, so I don't know if it's arranged differently. But I have a
Jaren's
feeling
too
that
busy
it is.
simping for
Yeah,
For
that,
Tennille.
yeah,
He's
that-
only
that's,
there for Tennille Downs.
That's partially true. But I will say I like his voice. His
He's-
voice, and I like his voice paired with Tennille's.
Yeah,
because they
they have a good
contrast so
harmony.
well. But they and when they harmonize, yeah, it's really good. I don't know, and I don't know what the instrumentals like and the arrangements like on the first original version of this song, but I really like it in this
It's
version.
almost got like a slight Christian contemporary
I see
vibe,
what I actually,
which actually
I
fits
can-
really well given the song is
Yeah.
about like
it's
spiritual
yeah,
ideas, but I
see
do
that a
feel
lot.
that with the super like measured percussion,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of dull acoustics and whatnot, dull
Yeah.
dull in a good way, as in the sound itself is a little
No,
more
let's-
muted.
Let's rag on contemporary Christian music for a little
No,
bit.
it's just on the whole, the instruments are a little more dialed back, a little
Yeah.
more pushed down in the mix to make
Yeah,
room for
no,
the focus on the vocals and lyrics, and that's what this song
Actually,
features.
I really like that you brought that up because I did not think of that, but you're right on the money with that. Like it sounds kind of, and then when they go, oh, like they start doing, that's a thing that that's a thing that's a very Christian contemporary
Nothing
thing
screams Christian music like a good old vocal fill.
to do. Yeah. I think this is actually a pretty well written song. I think the thing that makes it though is just Nate and
The
Tennille
presence,
together
yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, they
But
really
it's
fill
a
the
good
space.
song. I threw it in the "What Are We Listening To" playlist just because I really liked it. So I've been listening to it. So
I should send you a few for that playlist.
yeah, you should. But what's your song? Well, let's
So I'm
what's your
going
single?
the other way here. Jaren just brought a song he really likes. I'm bringing a song I don't really like. It's not been out for very long. I've listened to it once, and that's as many times as I will listen to it in my lifetime. Until New Music Friday comes around, I have to download the file. But Rolex on a Redneck by Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean came out today. And from the announcement, I don't know if they didn't announce the name of the song or if I missed something, but I didn't know the name of the song until it came out today. I just saw Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean are releasing a song today, and I was like, this has got a lot of things written all over
this
it.
is gonna be a banger. Yeah,
Like,
that's what you said.
I'm just gonna go get a massive tattoo on my shoulder. I'm gonna be so buff. My jeans are gonna be so tight. I'm gonna have so many chains, bro. My dad's truck is going to inflate itself. I was like,
Stop
stop
violating Brantley, bro. You're just
I was like, this is what I need. I need a song with Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean, which is a complete lie. I knew I was realistically.
That was a joke.
That was a joke. I was pretty confident going into this song. I was not going to be a big fan of it. And I left saying, wow, you guys really proved me right. This song. I don't know what
Oh
it's
my
trying
gosh.
to do. It's like, it makes no sense. Unless I'm stupid, it doesn't make any sense. And please have a blanket of mercy on me because I've only listened to it once because I don't want to listen to it again. But first
I'm
of
gonna
all,
play it right now.
it's incredibly poppy right off the bat and incredibly trappy. Like it's hardly even a country. It's
Ugh.
not a country song. It's hardly
Yeah.
even a rock song. It's kind of just like a weird pop trap song. And then Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean come in, and they just start dropping bars. Let me see if I can pull some of them up.
I don't. Viewers, I'm listening to this right now, and this is a first time listen for me, and I'm not enjoying it.
No,
I'm not enjoying it at all.
it's like it's so bad. It feels like a parody of like a bad song. Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel with these like over like intrusive like this is my lifestyle.
this
This is my
song. This song is the reason why I don't always tell people that I listen to country music when I tell them
That is a
when I talk to
fantastic
them
point
about
because
music.
people are gonna think I listen to this, and it's like, no, trust me.
No, dog.
But it's like,
This ain't it,
whereas
Chief.
Yeah, I mean, can't take it with you when you go. So I'm all about the sun up to sundown. Just trying to be the Warren Buffett of this town. Yeah, this work can't put a house out in Malibu, but I'll tell you what it can do. It can put a Rolex on a redneck. And then
Gosh.
the chorus closes. Well, here it's got camo on your brand new Benelli. Yeah, it can put some pearl on your snap, some gator on your boots. Girl on your lap 'cause your paper's to the roof. This turnin' dirt life might not pull a milli on a paycheck, but it can put a rollie on a redneck. So if it's not making a lot of money, why can you
Bars.
buy a Rolex?
Bars.
That's my question, right? If this whole song is about how your lifestyle doesn't pay very well, but it's supposedly rewarding, then why are you talking about how your money's to the roof and you can buy a Rolex? Does that not contradict itself? Is there a whole other meaning of Rolex I'm missing?
I don't know. I don't.
It's so bad. It's like, what were you trying? And it's got all the electronic like filters on the voices that like I'm
Okay, I
not
got-
against in other genres of music, right? Not in my country music, and not on Jason Aldean singing these lyrics or Brantley Gilbert. And also, I have to say this, right? So, Jaded texted me today
Yeah.
about the song. Let me pull up the message because there is a line in the chorus. He just texts me, quote,
Oh,
it can
gosh.
put it can put a few inches on your big black ... Chevy.
Oh my god.
That's a line in the song though. It says it can put
Uh,
some inches on your big block big block Chevy. So JD got it messed up. Get your mind out of the gutter, John B.
Oh my
But
gosh.
the song reeks. I don't know what it was going for.
I had
I don't-
the
Do they release this and think, are they just sitting there like, yeah, that's tough music right there.
That's
People
not
are gonna
sitting,
love
Evan.
it.
That's standing. For viewers, just or listeners, if you're not watching, he said, "Are they sitting here?" Like, and then Evan proceeded to stand up and flex.
Don't say. I thought you were making fun of the fact I said sitting and then stood up. And if you were, frick you. But,
I was.
it's weird. It's like no one listens to this and is like, my gosh, bro, Jason Aldean and Brantley Gilbert are some buff, tough individuals that I envy so greatly. I sit here listening to this thinking like, gosh darn it, I hope when I'm in my 40s I ain't doing this. But
Gosh.
oh man, I had to bring that up again. I've only listened to it once, but like I heard
It's
that
just-
I didn't want to listen to it. I listened to it today and I was like, wow.
This is worse than was it last episode when I wanted to talk about the Cole Swindell song with
Oh, this is
Harvey?
way worse. This is way
It's
worse.
significantly worse. That one was
Signi-
just that one was just like void of anything, but this is
This
has
isn't
something.
void. This has
Yeah.
stuff. It just sucks. Early
It's void. It has lots of things that suck.
yeah. It's an early bid for that inevitable worst list at the
Oh
end of the year.
gosh, it's not.
It's
looking-
not good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, with
let's,
that,
let's,
let's move on to.
can I talk about something that's good?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Some good music? Yeah. Well, we're doing what are we listening to? I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Jaron,
Jingle
what are
alert.
you listening to?
Until we get a jingle, this is the jingle. We're now in this segment.
There's our jingle.
Yeah.
If you're musical
I-
and you want to make a jingle, send it to us and we'll consider it.
Oh, that's a
We would love that. Or if you know someone who wants to make a quick like 5-second jingle, I don't know what we're going for. I don't know what I'm expecting.
I don't know.
but
just
send
make
it to us.
make something and send it to
Short,
us.
sweet, to the point, and we might use it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm bringing two things. Mostly because the EP that I'm bringing is only 4 songs. It's really good, but the other thing that I wanted to bring is also really good. So first, let me do the single. Nathan from the Discord about maybe 2 weeks ago was like, "Hey, Jaren, bro, listen to this song called Gone by Jessica Willis Fisher." And I was like, "Okay, Nathan, I'm trusting you."
Shout
so
out
then
Nathan.
Shout out to Nathan. And so I pressed play on it, and bro, this song, kind of fire, like really fire. It might not be everyone's thing, and I totally get that, because it kind of has a Celtic vibe sometimes, because when there's fiddle, it's fiddle. Like it's
Yep, I know exactly. That
Like-
is that's what Eastern Canadian music is. It is
yeah,
so.
because
There's a group
it
that
goes
tours
hard.
around here, a Celtic band that comes around every now and then and plays in a place near me that a lot of people really like going to.
Mm-hmm.
So I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah. So the two things that struck me when I first heard the song was immediately when she started singing, I was like, this sounds like Alison Krauss, like well, I was about to say reincarnate, but Alison Krauss isn't dead. Alison Krauss, but she's like 27. I think that's how old Jessica Willis Fisher is, about that age. But then then she comes into the chorus, right? And then right when the chorus ends, all the instruments come in and like hit, and like the fiddle's just going ham, and I'm just like, yes, 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 this is so good. And it might not be for everyone, but damn if the instrumentals aren't like just impeccable on
Bro,
the song.
Celtic
Like, it's-
music brings it. Like when they go on an
Yeah.
instrumental break, they go.
Yeah.
Like,
It's still very much country though, because it has to have that Celtic touch, but it's bluegrassy and Celtic, but it's like
well, they go hand
it's
in
still-
hand.
and it's still in that country umbrella. It's hard for me to describe it really. It's also folky a little bit, but I love the chorus. It's hooky, and then right after every time, right after the chorus hits, the fiddle comes in, and essentially it's kind of like an echo, after she's done singing, then it's like a response, if that
Yep,
if that
like a
makes
call
sense.
and
It's-
response kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's so good. It's so good. And then so check it out, please. Her name's Jessica Willis Fisher. She also has two other songs that are also really good. Gone is just my favorite one. She has an album coming out, I think actually in April or May. So I might talk about that when that happens. Hopefully it's good, because also I will say I really like her. Her two newest singles have some really nice art. They're just pictures though, but they're sunsets, or maybe they're sunrises. I don't know. They're good. They're
Their
nice
sun
pictures.
crossing horizons.
Yeah. Check her out. My other thing, because I don't want to spend too much time. I need to make sure I cover both of these things. Gracie York. A lot of you guys probably haven't heard of her. Evan, had you heard of her before I talked about her on my podcast? Not podcast,
So-
blog.
I have heard a lot of people talking about Gracie York over the last like 2 weeks. I feel like I've heard the name popping up here and
And
there.
it is
I still have
probably
not-
because of this EP.
Probably. I still have not
Yeah.
gotten to it. I'm sorry, but
It's okay.
he
Your
is a
sins are
name that
forgiven.
has been flying across my radar quite a bit lately, and I will inevitably have to check him out soon.
Yeah. So, Gracie, I have
Cool name.
before this EP. Yeah, it's Gracie, but it's spelled with. She's got an extra Y in there, so it's like gray, like the color, and then CIE.
Ah,
So, yeah, it's interesting. She had a song. She has a song called Texas Rain, which I had heard before I heard this EP. It's a good song. Check that one out. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. She released a new EP just this past Friday, so it's a week old. And bro, the 4 songs on this EP. Ugh.
is it up there with
Bro.
Leanna or no?
Yeah, it is. Honestly, it's probably better. Like, just from the songwriting alone. Like, it might be harder to, you might have to be more in the mood for this one, if that makes sense. Because
Yep.
Leanna has some more upbeat moments, where this is an acoustic, very raw, vulnerable is a good word. Just the writing, the words, and it's just so good. Like, the opener, Sad Bird, is amazing, and I can tell, looking from the streams, seems most people agree with me. My favorite one is called Honey Tell Me. That's the song that I did my first blog post about, and
Yes.
it's just,
Oh, speaking of which, because I haven't announced this on the podcast yet. In case you don't know, Jaren has started his own blog.
Yeah, check that out. It's called Songs and Sunsets. If you go to songsandsunsets.com, you can find it.
There,
Tomorrow's
I'll drop a
Saturday.
link down in the description of this video as well.
Yeah, tomorrow's Saturday, and hopefully this episode will be coming out then.
Should I'm just gonna
Um,
hop off and edit it now, but
Yeah. I might be uploading my second post onto the website tomorrow. So, or maybe even tonight. So it might already be up by the time this is uploaded. So check it out if you're interested in keeping up with it. By all means, I think just log in, like make an account, and you can give me the email, and then you'll get a notification anytime I upload a new post. But anyway, thanks for reminding me to talk about that because we didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
This is just, it's really good. Like, I was surprised. I should mention before I forget, Joe. I think we've already shouted out Joe once for helping us name the segment that's coming up next. But Joe is the one was like, hey, Jaren, you should probably listen to Gracie York. And I was like, okay, Joe, I'll do it. And so then I did it. And
When Joe says you do.
Yeah, I don't really know what I was expecting. But all I know is I was caught off guard because I remember, bro, I was just blown away. It's hard for me to talk about it without just saying the same thing over and over again because I can't really put my thoughts into words. But this is a really good EP, like really good, and it's very acoustic, but it's like it feels more refined than like Zach Bryan's earlier stuff though. Like it feels sophisticated. Not that Zach Bryan's earlier stuff wasn't good, but
Zach Bryan also put out a new single, but
yeah, I only listened to it once. I don't really have a whole lot of, whatever. We're not gonna talk about it. We listened to it. Anyway, this is a good EP. Check it out. It's called Sad Bird. Gracie York. Evan.
So, I've got a cool little one. I was debating bringing this last episode, but I brought Moon Dance by Van Morrison because I was like, it's just more relevant. It just came in. But, so this was the one I was thinking of bringing, and I do want to bring it at some point, so here it is. It is Married in a Honky Tonk by Jenna Tolman. I feel really bad because I forget who. But someone on Instagram, if you're listening, you know who you are, messaged me and said, yo, this album's really good. You should check it out. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let me check it out. And so this is the one I was saying how, like, it's got that opener, like, Good Morning, Jennyville. It's a little just, like, 20-second, like, flipping through some music, whatever. And then I love that. It kind of gets me settled in. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. Yeah. And then the whole album, it's very, very neo-traditional, which is probably why I'm a sucker for it. If you look at the album cover, you can get the aesthetic for the album. Like, you will get the vibe strictly off the album cover. It's very 90s, very homegrown, almost like... Oh, no, it's a bad comparison. Never mind. But
I'll save it right now. I like the cover a lot.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure you can just by seeing it kind of get an idea. But I love the writing on this album. Even it can be serious, sad, dumb, funny. One song I really like, Borrowing Sugar. That is it's such a creative idea about, like, you won't be borrowing sugar from this house anymore. And I think that's such a cool, like, piece of small town imagery. Like, whereas Jason Aldean's out here saying, like, I'm from a small town, I drive my truck. Jenny Tolman's out here saying, like, where's the closer to the chorus? She's like, a cup of this and a pinch of that, you'll be coming back for more. Go take your trashy recipe down to the grocery store. Don't come borrowing sugar from my house no more. And it's like, yeah, bars. It's like that is a cool song. There's also I Know Some Cowboys is a really cool song, really interesting perspective on that one. But the one I have to mention here is Home to Roost. It's like this really not weird, but she's almost like using chicken sounds to make this like breakup song. Huh. But it works. Let me just read you the lyrics again, right?
Okay. All right.
It's so absurd, but at the same time, I like it. I'm listening to, like, it is very out there and very odd and very goofy. So, like, And that's one thing with this album. There is a lot of changes of emotional pace. It is like a bit of an up and down roller coaster. So it's not like you can put this on in a certain vibe and just like sit on that, because it's a wild ride. But the chorus of Home to Roost, you should have cockadoodle didn't, but you cockadoodle did. It's
oh my gosh.
it's out about who you're cockadoodling with. Hey there, what you gonna cockadoodle do? Now that your
Oh my
chickens
gosh.
are all coming home to roost, you've been out free, ranging every night of the week, spreading. Look, you strutting around like the cock of the walk. It has got the whole hen house all up in a squawk, and it's like it's
Bruh,
really cool.
That's
the
That's
album.
pretty funny.
The album, like I said, it's funny. It's all over the place. But musically very traditionally focused. A lot of sass, which is always a cool energy that I think. When girls bring some sass to their music, I think it's always pretty
Yeah.
fun to listen to. So that is the album I've brought. I'm so sorry I'm forgetting who sent it to me. I should have looked that up before we started recording. But if you're listening to this, you know who you are, and thank you for that suggestion, because yes, it is a fantastic record. And with that, we can transition into the final segment of
I'm
today's
ready. I'm
episode.
excited.
Connor,
Who the is that guy?
who the frick is that?
Yeah.
Who the frick is
Alright.
this? Sorry.
All right. I'm excited. I'm excited.
The new
'Cause-
Wikipedia segment that we introduced last episode. We're bringing it
Yeah.
back, a little more preparation this time, because last time it was
Yeah.
kind of feeling out process. And we are back. We are going. Jaren, in case you don't know how this segment works, Jaren is going. He's got some artists, and he's going to tell me some facts from their Wikipedia page, and based upon those, I have to try and guess who it is.
All right. Yeah. So
I'll let
real
you take
quick.
the reins.
Yeah, I've got some revisions, a little
Yep.
bit, just clarifications. So I'm gonna give Evan. Evan has 3 hints that I'm going to give to him, and so I'm gonna give him a hint, and if he doesn't guess it right, guess it right, guess it right, then I will give him the second one. Same thing. I'll give him the third one if he doesn't get that last one. And we'll do that for all 3 artists. I decided to try to make an attempt to. The first artist is going to be relatively easy. Second artist might be a little bit harder, and then I would say the third artist that he has to guess might be a little difficult. You know,
But
might
is
be
there-
surprised if he gets it.
So, just if you had to guess, like, do you know for a fact I know all 3? Are you pretty sure?
I think
know,
you
like,
have heard of all 3. I would be surprised
Okay.
if you haven't at least heard of them
Okay.
at a minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. I've also made a point to not just choose completely random. That's where my job gets hard here, because I'm trying to make it so that you can kind of you at least have a shot at making it.
I have
know?
a chance. I'm still not happy about the Core Blonde guess. I can't lie. I'm
I was
still
kind of
not over
surprised
that
you
yet.
didn't get that. Yeah.
Look, there was a number it was lost
Yeah.
in translation, and so I invalidated my
Yeah.
own guess, and then it ended up being right. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Yeah. So, and I should say that some artists are a little bit harder to find good clues for, especially if they've had like a shorter career, they haven't been around as
Yeah.
long, or if they're just, and sometimes artists are just known so well that certain clues are just a dead giveaway, you know? So I
yeah.
have to, All right. So let's get into it. Artist 1. So the first clue is this artist has their own line of guitars and accessories. So maybe think like guitarist. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. What are we thinking, Evan?
Guitar line. Who has a guitar line?
Yeah.
Like, I
line
know
of
people that have
guitars and
accessories. Is this like, okay, and does that mean like they've paired with a brand to make like a custom guitar, or they literally have their own guitar brand?
I'm pretty sure it's like own guitar. I don't.
That
It might
throws
be
me
a
off
part.
then.
It might be a partnership. I'm not really sure. I could maybe try to clarify that real quick. I guess I
'cause-
didn't think about that.
Right? No, that's fine. Right off the top of my head, I mean that.
Okay.
I feel like if I knew that clue, it'd be a dead giveaway. But it's not ringing a bell. However, I do know,
You
especially
still
for
do,
the first,
You do still have 2 hints, so you could still guess. Like, don't.
especially for the first person, since it's bigger. I know Luke Combs is big into. He's got like his Crocs. He's got different care packages, and I don't know why, but I feel like I've seen his logo on guitars before, but I don't know if that's like his own guitar brand.
Sure.
I feel like it just. You know what? I have 2 more hints. Luke Combs, probably the biggest name I could possibly give you.
I'm glad you're thinking big, but it's not Luke Combs. Okay. So
Okay.
we'll go to second hint.
Yep.
This artist is married to the ex-wife of Tom Cruise.
I don't know that.
I feel like a
That's
lot of
useless.
people would. I feel
You
like a
could
lot of
tell
people.
me his
The thing is,
the
thing
width
is, a
of his
lot of peop-
pinky toe would mean more to me.
okay, look, hear me. I knew you'd get upset at that hint, but the thing is,
People
I
listening are
guarantee you-
gonna be like,
Yeah, I guarantee you, other people do know because Tom Cruise, movie star. You're not super into movies, but a lot of other people are, so they would probably know. I mean, I know. But-
someone's hating me in the comments right now.
Yeah. So, if that doesn't help you at all, I guess just go off of. At
And I
least you
can't,
know
like-
now.
I'm not,
Let
I'm not
me
gonna
say this
Google
ag-
like Tom Cruise's ex. That'd be cheap, but
Yeah. Just give me another guess.
I'm thinking
Awesome.
guitarist, and like that's got me thinking in the lane of Brad Paisley, but I know he doesn't have like a big. I would know his wife if he married like a superstar, but his wife's pretty like just average person. He's not like some celebrity marriage there, so that's why I'm. It's not Brad Paisley, so I'm thinking other really good guitarists that stick out. That I'm also thinking maybe because I also feel like, I mean, guitars, yeah, but I feel like accessory wise, Brad would not really be a guy to go into accessories.
Sure.
So I'm thinking of other guitarists has got me going in the lane of like Keith Urban comes to mind.
Okay.
So, and I don't know why, but I feel like he seems like someone that would have a celebrity wife. And I feel like I should know that if he does or doesn't, but I don't. So I'm going to say Keith Urban.
You are correct. He
He
is
has his own
married to
guitar
Nicole-
line.
Yeah. I guess. Look, I'm using Wikipedia.
That's true. It's all based on what Wikipedia says. So if someone's like
yeah,
messed it
yeah.
up.
yeah. Who knows?
It'd be
But
really
he
funny
is-
if someone heard this, went to a country artist page, made all the facts wrong, and then just completely screwed over the episode. That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's true. That would. Be funny.
Who
So
is
he's
Keith
married
Urban's
to
wife?
Nicole Kidman.
I
Big
don't know
big
who that
movie
is.
star, but I wouldn't expect you to know. The thing is, that's like a dead giveaway clue if you're anyone else besides Evan. So it's like
If you know movie
got-
culture, you would know that.
yeah.
So
So and then my third clue was that the artist was born in New Zealand, and I thought if you didn't
I would have
get-
got it there. I would have got it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, most people think like he is Australian, but he was born in New Zealand and then lived in Australia, is what happened there. So
I've just Googled it. and
But you
yeah,
probably would've
Keith
gotten it.
Urban has
Yeah.
a line of guitars.
yeah, I guess. So all
Urban
right, good
guitars.
job, Evan.
Cool. One
You
for
got
one.
it. You basically got it based off of the first clue because the second clue is useless to you.
Yeah, I was just thinking guitarist.
So this is gonna be maybe a little bit harder. We'll see. I have dropped in some clues that if you really kind of think about them, I think you might be able to get it. So this artist is about 8 years older than I am. Me, Jaren. This person is 8 years older than me.
So
Do you know how old I am? Should I tell you how old I am?
no, because I know like
Is that cheating? That's probably cheating.
27, 28. We're looking there, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Am I 18? Am I 22?
You're not 18, bro. You're older. I'm pretty sure you're 19 or 20 or turning 20, something like that, or turning 21.
I am
This is your
turning
first
21.
year, right?
I'm turning 21.
All right, so 29.
Yeah.
All right.
Around
Guess
that
is
age.
based. So that's actually kind of young. I feel like country artists they take a little longer to kind of heat up, whereas like in other genres, these super young people kind of explode. So 29. I mean, you're not super young, but you are kind of young. I do not really know the ages of people that well.
Sure,
so
sure.
I feel like
I wasn't
I'll
expecting
just-
you to get. I thought this would give you a good idea of who to think about, just with the age.
yeah,
you
it
know?
helps. It helps demographically. Oh, it's actually tough because I'm simply going off of like how old do they look. I'm Riley Green. I think he's older than that. I'm pretty sure he's older than that. But
I actually don't know how old he is, but it's not Riley Green.
how old is Riley Green? I'm curious. Riley Green, age 33. Okay, yeah, I figured he'd be a little older.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
not Riley.
That's
All
not
right, hit me with my second hint.
All right. Clue number 2 for our second mystery artist. This artist name drops Knoxville, Tennessee in one of their most popular songs, if not their most popular.
Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm choking. You know, like Song Association. I forget what brand does that, but there's a series called Song Association where they have artists on and they'll say a word and they have 15 seconds to start singing a song that includes that word. But
Yeah.
it has to be like a real song. And I've tried, like, I've thought about it before, and it's like I would be so bad at that. But they
Yeah.
name drop Knoxville.
Yeah.
In
I'm
one of-
pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure they even say Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, that should be a dead giveaway, but it's not ringing a bell. I'm just kind of trying to think of people from that area now.
I so badly want to give you a hint, but we'll see how this is going, and I might give you a fourth one.
I'm just gonna say a name because
Okay. Think younger. Just think younger.
I know that's the hard part. And you said I do know this person.
Oh, for sure. hmm
Um,
If you told me that you didn't know who this was, I would call you a liar. Because I know for a fact that you know who this person is. Trying so
I'm
hard
honestly
to not
just
say gender
looking-
or anything like that.
I'm honestly just looking at my music at names right now, like who looks young. But
bruh,
Knoxville.
you gotta guess.
Yeah, I
Taking
do.
forever.
The listeners are bored. Frickin', I know they're from Alabama, but Muscadine bloodline. They're kind of young, I think.
Nah, not them.
That was never gonna be it.
All right. I'll give you
They're Alabama
third clue.
anyways.
This artist is married. I'll even say this artist was recently married to a fellow country artist who happens to be from Australia.
Oh, that should be a dead giveaway.
And when I
Married
say
to a
recently,
fellow-
I think within the past year or two. I should
a
specify.
fellow
probably.
country artist from Australia. I don't know my Australian country very well. I feel like my gears should be turning, but I'm just a deer in the headlights at the moment.
Crap! I had an idea for another hint for you, and I forgot it.
Maybe run. Oh, I was gonna say you could run. I could really use a lifeline at the moment. Recently married, Australian wife.
Maybe I
That
should.
is
I could maybe come up with some lifelines. I'll have to brainstorm maybe for
for
the
a future
episode.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. I can give you. How about you give me a guess, and if you don't get it, I can maybe give you one more hint. But then you gotta like do a quick guess because we've taken too long, probably.
Yeah. Good freaking grief. Dylan Scott. He put out a song about his wife. Yeah, that's not Dylan Scott.
Is that your guess?
Yes, bro.
No, it is not Dylan Scott. I will tell you
I
the
should-
gender. I'm going to tell you the gender of this person, and if you don't get it, then I'll just be slightly disappointed.
Oh. Okay.
This person is female.
So I didn't. I was thinking wives. Male country artist from Australia.
I don't focus
Holy
too much
heck.
on that. I
Don't
would
focus
think
too
it-
much on the Australia. Focus
I-
on
I-
like young.
I kind of put that clue in just in case you knew it, like because I think I was vaguely aware of that, but you might have no idea. But maybe focus on remember Knoxville, Tennessee,
Oh,
around
this isn't.
28 years old.
See, these are the.
They're
I'm so bad
female.
at these games because like I hear the name and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's
Yeah, I feel like you're
just-
gonna say. I feel like you're gonna do that. I
Hold
gave
on
you.
a second. Wait. Don't ask why. But like, is
Okay, I'm actively
Ryan-
listening to this song. What?
Ryan Hurd Australian?
Don't guess Maren Morris. Don't guess
Okay.
Maren Morris.
I didn't know. I don't know where he's from. I just seen some of his pictures. I'm like,
Okay,
you know what?
look.
He looks like he could be. I've never heard him talk.
Just to fact
I-
check myself, I listened to the song and it does say Knoxville, Tennessee.
This is
Word
killing
for
me.
word.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay, Kelsey Ballerini.
Who the heck is Kelsey Ballerini married to?
She's married to I know his name. Why am I spacing it all of a sudden? I hate myself. Why am I spacing? They even do a song together. Oh my goodness, Jaren. It's not Mitchell Tenpenny, is it?
Is he Australian?
I don't think it's Mitchell Tenpenny. I feel like it's not Mitchell. Why can I not think of his name? I'm sorry.
Just look
I
up
even-
Kelsey Ballerini husband.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Morgan Evans.
Morgan Evans.
Oh.
We looked at it at the same time. Yeah. I knew it started with an M. That's why I was thinking Mitchell Tenpenny. Yeah.
So
She's
yeah, so which is
28.
so what's the song in Knoxville, Tennessee then? It's
Half of my hometown.
Half My Hometown.
At the near the very end,
Ah!
the chorus switches up, and her and Kenny both at the same time go, "Half part of me will always be from Knoxville,
Knoxville,
Tennessee,"
Tennessee.
and there's like a lot of emphasis on it.
Oh
So.
my gosh. Yeah, the Australian didn't help me very much, but I feel like
I'm sorry.
see, this is the one. No, that's all right because it's an interesting clue, but it's like it's so infuriating in my spot because it's like
Yeah.
Knoxville,
yeah.
Tennessee. I'm just blanking. I'm like, what song say Knoxville, Tennessee? Oh man. All right.
Yeah, I kind of gave you some specific clues there. Kind of.
No, those
banking
are
on
good.
you.
Those are good.
Okay, okay.
I gotta study myself more. Not myself. I gotta study more. I gotta
Study
come
myself.
prepared.
All right, this one is gonna be hard. I'm just gonna tell you. At least
All right.
yeah. And I like the last one. I'm willing to, as the artist get harder, I will give you an extra hint if you're not having a great time.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. This artist's 1989 debut album spawned 4 straight #1 singles on the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Singles and Tracks chart.
That should be a huge. Debuted in 1989.
Their first
4
album,
number ones.
1989. 4 straight #1 singles on the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Singles and Tracks chart. Charts. It says plural.
Who's from back then?
So oh man, they gotta be probably like, if it was 1989, they gotta be pretty old now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Reba's older than that, right? I feel like she'd be a bigger name. Like the fact that you say this is gonna be hard makes me think it is not Reba. Can I Google how old Reba McEntire is? I feel like
Yeah.
she's way. I feel
Go
like.
ahead.
I feel like that's a dumb question because I feel like she started way before that.
I should say that if I'm letting you Google
66.
something, it's probably because you're wrong.
That's fair. Um, Sorry, wait. Did you say gender or no?
I did not. At least I
So
don't think I did.
why did my mind immediately go female?
I don't know, bro.
Oh,
I said
man.
this artist. I never said no. I did not say gender, unless I
Yeah, you
accidentally
didn't.
said it.
Maybe I don't know why my mind immediately went like. But Reba's way older, and like you said, with the googling, you wouldn't allow that if I was right. Holy heck! I don't know my old music good enough. Who was around back then? Brooks and Dunn debuted in later. George Strait's way before that. and
Should I just
he-
give you the second clue?
Give me
I
the
feel
second
like-
clue? I'm not going
yeah.
anywhere on this first
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah. This artist is one of the 10 artists that sang on the Grammy Award-winning track "Same Old Train." Are you familiar with that track? I think Johnny Cash was on it. Randy Travis.
I'm gonna be very
Uh,
transparent. I'm not familiar.
You
with
don't.
This song.
All right.
When was
Yeah,
when
I
was that
told you-
from? When was that from?
I don't know.
I'm
I'll look it
curious.
up.
Oh,
Same Old Train.
this is the. Ah man, I don't know my old stuff well enough. I'm too young.
1998
young.
looks like I'll tell you. I will tell you. I'll tell you. Just to give you an idea of kind of what generation we're thinking of. I'll tell you some of the other people that were on this track
Okay.
because there were 10 people. So we
Yeah.
had Joe Diffie, Merle Haggard, Randy Travis, Ricky Scavs. I said Skaggs, and Patty Loveless.
Ricky
are some of the
Scav.
people that were on this track with this person, and and Alison Krauss. All those people were on this track. It was pretty big at the time. It was a big thing. 10 people.
Debut as well. And you, how confident are you? I know this person.
I'm confident that you've heard of them. I don't know how familiar you are with them. I would be surprised if you've not heard of this person, and if you haven't, then that's on me. Then we've
don't know
wasted a
why,
lot of
but-
time.
Why am I so stuck in like female?
Okay,
I
I'm
don't
gonna tell
know.
you right now, it's a male. Get off the female.
It's a
thing.
male. I don't know
Yeah.
where that came from. I was thinking.
Okay, I feel like this. I'm gonna also
Clint.
just
No.
give you the- Oh,
Okay, yeah. Give me the third. Give
no,
me
no,
the third
no,
hint, give me the-
no. You were about to say something. Tell me.
Clint Black debuted around that time, but I feel like he debuted in the 90s. I feel like it was 91. Because I think Killin' Time was his original album, and I feel like that was 91.
Look, you
But for
haven't
the
even
sake of the
guessed
fact,
yet.
what?
Yes,
For the sake of the fact, I haven't even thrown a guess out there. I'm just gonna say Clint Black.
You were right.
What? Actually?
Yeah, Clint
I thought
Black.
I could have sworn Killin' Time was
1989.
I'm actually kind of psyched up at that guess.
Yeah, I was kind of.
When-
You kind of pulled that out of nowhere, bro. You were like, "Oh, Clint Black," and I was like, "Oh, did he just say Clint Black?" I was like,
When did that
"Dang."
come out? Oh, uh-oh. Wait a minute. My Wi-Fi just
What?
went out.
Oh,
Hopefully
Well,
that's just
I
my
can
phone.
still hear
Okay, it
you.
came back. It came back.
I was gonna say I can still hear you.
It was 89.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hey, you got the hardest one. I would say,
I was-
honestly, I think that one was harder than the Kelsey Ballerini one.
It definitely was. Where did
I
that
don't know,
come
man.
from? I was just thinking of people that debuted back then, and I remember that CD.
I would not
My
have
dad-
gotten that, bro.
My dad had that CD, and so I have it downloaded,
Oh.
and so I was thinking that era, and I was like, I haven't thrown a guess out there, but I was convinced it was like 91 when it came out, so that's why I thought this was gonna be a dumb guess.
Sure.
So thank you for stopping me and like making.
I
me
was. I
guess.
literally.
I
heard you
totally
say,
would have went over.
Yeah, I heard you say Clint, and I was like, bruh. I was like, bro, you haven't even guessed. You might as well guess. All right. Well, that's the end. That's the end of the
You know,
episode.
I enjoy that segment, but it's actually tough because on the spot, your mind just leaves. You can't think of
Yeah.
any names. You can't think of
Yeah.
any facts.
Yeah.
All right.
right,
Well,
well.
that is all for today's episode of the Waves on the Shore podcast. Hope you enjoyed some new faces on the show today. Be sure to show Tom some love in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on all these albums and songs below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to plug my own stuff, but check out my blog. I'd
No,
appreciate it.
do check out Jaren's blog. Be sure to subscribe. You can get emails when stuff comes out, all that fancy jazz. And I think we don't really much closing to say.
Yeah. Ooga booga. Podcast over.